Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the class. Welcome, welcome. I could see the people joining one after another. Yes, and what I posted on the screen, can anyone could read?
Good
Yes,
morning, not good morning, sir.
not good morning. Of course, that is morning which I made it over there. But now I will know because it's a morning I posted it. So you read
Yes,
that one later. The today one is that I am posting now. That is evening, good evening. But I want to read that thing that is the reason that I post that one. So now I am yes because already that I made this one, but I want to read the first that thing. Then I want to give this thing. That's the reason that I made it over there. Yes. So this is the good afternoon to everybody, which I said in the words, but I now posted it. But I want to see that what is posted should be written over there. Yes, anyone?
an estuary is a partially enclosed coastal water body where fresh water from rivers and streams mixes with salt water from the ocean. An actuary is a mathematician who uses statistics to calculate premiums, dividends, or pension, insurance, and annuity rates for an insurance company.
Yes, that I want to make it very much clear to you that estuary means a joining point of the sweet water with the salt water, that is called estuary, and actuary is the person with an expert to fixing the premium and dividend and pension and insurance and annuity rates of the insurance company. This I would like to share with you, and that is the reason that I have shown you that thing. But actually, that I said the good afternoon. This is the thing which I posted over there. So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my class, Professor Dr. Muhammad Saib Hussain, and the class is regarding the Transfer of Property Act that I was dealing with the property. Then I have discussed what is the property up to that extent. A person who can keep the property, hold the property, eat the property, squeeze the property, enjoy the property, dispose the property, transfer the property, even he can destroy the property also. Yes, up to that extent that I dealt in my last class, and I told you that I will take the class especially today in the evening because I'm taking the class from Hyderabad now, and hence that's why I postponed to the evening. So there are when you say that traditional principles related to the property rights, which includes the following. What are the property principle of the related to the property rights? Number one, control over the use of the property. Yes, he can have the control over the use of the property. He can use it, he can squeeze it, he can take it, he can destroy it the way that he wants. Number one. Number two, right to take any benefit from the property. Yes, if any benefit would be there, he will enjoy the property benefit. Yes, that is the second point. And third point is right to transfer or sell the property. Yes, he can transfer it, he can sell it. I told you transfer by the other modes also there, including selling and transfer by the gift, transfer by the will, transfer by the mortgage, transfer by the lease. Also, I told you, and another point which I discussed the law of easement is concerned, that is the license. And the last point is the fourth point, the right to exclude the other from the property. Yes, the other should not supposed to use it. Suppose if I say that the property is mine, like the what do you say that that land, um, wetland and dry land. Do you know the distinction between the wetland and dry land? In wetland, naturally, that the commercial crops, including the paddy, will be grown over there. In the dry lands, and the maize and other bajra, some certain things will be where the less water will be consumed over there. So that is the dry land. So here, what I want to say is, suppose if the wetland is there, dry land is there, at that time I could exclude the other people to enter into the land, and if I have the dry land and where I can exclude the other animals to graze in his own land. So these are the traditional principles regarding the property rights is concerned. Then we will see that what is the definition of the property. And I hope that you are following me. Any doubt? Any clarification needed? Shall I
No, sir.
proceed?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now you can mute it. Yes, definition of the property is concerned. There are different definitions that are given in different act as per their uses and needs. But in the most important act, which exclusively talks about the property, and rights related to the Property Transfer of Property Act 1882 that deals about the property has no definite definition of the term property, but it is defined in some other acts as per their use and need. Those definitions are as follows. Section 2, Class C of the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988 defines property as, I quote, property, I unquote, means property of any kind, whether movable or immovable, tangible or intangible, and includes any right or interest in such property. If any property of any nature would be there, if the rights and interests are there, that is enough, that is a property. The property belongs to him. And section 2 and clause 11 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930 defines the property as property means the general property in goods. Yes, property means goods and not merely a special property. Of course, here not merely a special property in the sense is specifically not mentioned one. It is having its own significance. That's why that he said not merely a special property. Of course, property is a property, whether it's special or ordinary, it doesn't matter. But special property is that special features are there, then it's a special property. Otherwise, we will say the property itself, even though it is special. And because property can be also said as a goods, and property can also said be as a things also. Yes, that is a property. Like money is the or currency is the things, but it is a property. And goods are concerned. Yes, the table, chair, and these are the goods. Are the minerals? They are the goods. Even that thing also come under it. And movable and immovable also comes under it. And tangible and intangible also comes over the that is, we said it is a property. And there are many theories behind the concept of property, but when I happened to see the question paper, I did not see what are the theories behind the property is concerned. Hence, we can just skip that because there are many theories are there, that like historical theory, labor theory, psychological theory, functional theory, philosophical theory, and many theories are there. I don't know how do you pronounce the theory or theory because Theory, but the Indian pronunciation is theory, but in other people say the theory. So that is the wording that you use it. But anyway, the accent may be the different, but the spelling is the Theory. Of course, there are many authors who are given it, but I did not see. Did you see any question paper? What are the theories available in the property? Anyone? Anyone can unmute and give the answer to my question. I said unmute and give the answer to my question. Did anyone saw in the question paper whether the theories of the property is asked any time? To my knowledge goes, it did not ask over there, but in the syllabus it's not clearly mentioned. That's why we can skip it. But generally, you can keep in your mind. The historical theory is there, labor theory is there, psychological theory is there, functional theory is there, philosophical theory is there. And shall we discuss each one of them in a nutshell? Tell me. Yes. Give me the answer. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Give me the answer.
Yes, sir.
Why you are taking that much time to give the answer to my question? Shall I deal in a nutshell regarding the historical theory? Or you can
Yes,
skip
sir.
it? Okay, let me deal it. Why should I have to skip it? What the historical theory said about the property is concerned, because only the two paragraphs are there, three paragraphs are there, we can easily finish it. The historical theory of property itself, like according to the historical theory, the concept of the private property had grown out of the collective group of joint property. Either it is a collective group or a joint property. That is the historical aspect. In the words of the Henry Maine, who is the historical school, private property was chiefly formed by the gradual disentanglement of this separate rights of the individual from the blended rights of the community. So that is the Henry Maine say a private property was chiefly formed by the gradual disentanglement of the separate rights, because if the separate rights would become, otherwise it would become a joint property. But disentanglement means untying it and making a separate, and the rights of individual from the blended right of the community. So in the community, the blended rights are there, means everybody is a joint owner. That is the point, because earlier the joint family would be there. Now it is becoming a neutral family. Yes, earlier property did not belong to the individuals, not even to the isolated families, but the larger society composed of the patriarchal mode. Later, with the disintegration of the family, individual rights came into the being. Earlier, the property will be seen to the belongs to the society or community at large, but not each and individual property, the group property. Roscoe Pound also pointed out that the earliest form of property was a group property, a mass property, a community property, a social property, but not an individual property, as the historical school says. It was later on that the families were partitioned, yes, and individuals' property came into being. So that's why historical school says property belongs to the group, property belongs to the society, property belongs to the community. That is the historical school concept. Now let's come to the labor theory. That is the Spencer, what he says. The theory is known as positive theory. This theory consists on the fact that the labor of the individual is the foundation of property. Suppose if there is no labor, there is no property. సార్ అందరు చెప్పేటోళ్ళు ఉంటే వినేటోళ్ళు ఎవరండి? ఎనీవన్?
Yes, sir.
అందరు వినేటోళ్ళు ఉంటే చెప్పేటోళ్ళు ఎవరండి?
Yes, sir.
That's why the theory insists on that if the labor is there, then only the individual can foundation of the property would be there. Without the labor, the property will not be accumulated. Means you have to put the hard. Rekarte dokkadtad antaru. So that is the same thing which is made there. With that, the property can be earned. This theory says that things in the property of the person who produces it and brings it to the existence, because of his blood and sweat only the property will be accumulated. The main supporter of this theory is Spencer, and who developed it on the principle of the equal freedom. He says that the property is the result of the individual labor. His concept is the property is the individual labor. Do you agree to this one or not? Yes.
Yes, sir.
It is the property because of the individual labor only there. Of course, people will get the property because the forefathers got it, but that is not the sweat and blood property, and it is a hereditary property is concerned. A property which you will get it without any hard work, without cost, in the same way the property also goes away. So therefore, no person has a moral right to property which has not acquired by his personal effort. Suppose that's why I never purchased the lottery ticket. I never purchased the lottery ticket. The reason is I don't want the easy money. I want the money which I want to earn with my blood and sweat. That's I believe it, and I wish my student also do the same thing. Instead of depending upon the father property and ancestral property, you earn your property and you stand on your own feet and you say the same thing to your children also. Let's come to the third point is that the third theory is psychological theory that the Bentham has made. According to this theory, property came into existence on account of the acquisitive instinct of a man, because the acquisitive instinct means it is acquiring the instinct to be there in the person, then only the psychological way, then we can say it's my property, my house, and my wife, my children, so my nation, my country. So that's the concept to be there. Every individual desires to own things, and that brings into the being property. So psychological theory which says instead of belonging to we, he said I earn the money. Rather you can say we earn the money. So that is the concept, that is the psychological theory say. According to the Bentham, property is altogether a conception of mind. He said it is a conception of mind to say there is a satisfaction of a man. See, if you have your own house, you will have a comfortable sleep. If you are staying in the rented house, you don't feel in the comfortable, because always you think that when do have my own house. Suppose if the landlord have the what I say angry on you, then he will be fired. And suppose you are angry on the landlord, he will fire you. But anyway, that you are the victim. So the property is altogether the conception of mind. It is nothing more than an exception to drive certain advantages from the object according to one's capacity. So he said it is the conception of the mind. People want that it is my property and my earned money and my house. So that is the we can say, but we cannot keep that staying in the father's house. We cannot say that it is my property, because we don't feel too proud to say the my property, because it is not earned by your hard earned money, because not by your own labor, but it is bestowed to you from your father, and you are staying with free hand. In another way that you are a parasite, in one way in another way. Yes, according to Bentham, property is altogether a conception of mind. I already told you. Later we'll see the Roscoe Pound what he said. Roscoe Pound also supports the Bentham and observed that the sole basis of the conception of property is the acquisitive instinct. Acquisitive means like the acquisition. Instinct means it is in the body, that the behavior itself in it. the instinct of the individual which motivates him to assert his claim over the object in his position of control. So it is a thinking of a person. That's why the woman, especially the Indian woman, will not share her husband with anybody. Not anybody means any woman. That's the point. So he said, my husband, it is restricted to my only. It's my property. That is the concept would be there, the psychological theory is concerned. Next, the functional theory, that the Jenks and Lasky, they say functional theory is concerned. The theory is sometimes also known as a sociological theory of property. It implies that the concept of the property should not only be confined to the private right, but it should be considered as a social institution securing the maximum interest of the society. Property is situated in the society, how she would use in the society. So if any of the bus would be there, the bus would be not for the individual, the bus would be the society. That's why people are travel on the public bus rather than having their own bus with them. Of course, here not the own bus, but the own car, we can say. So they say it is for the society, the property is for the society, that the sociological school concept would be there, which is nothing but a socialistic bent of the concept. According to Jenks, no one can be allowed to unrestricted use of his property to the detriment to others. He said the use of the property should conform to the rules of reason and welfare of the community. So when you want to enjoy the property, of course, rules and regulations should be followed over there. Rather, you are enjoying your own, let better it will be benefit to the society. Suppose if you are taking the bus and you are traveling alone from, say, about Khammam to Hyderabad, and your bus is there, having the 50 seats over there. Meanwhile, pedestrian carrying the some of the weight on their head, and they are going on foot because they did not have the money. At that instant, the sociological school says that rather the property will be used for individually, later it will be better for the public at large. So you please give the lift to them and try to carry them to the destination where they are going, and you are also going to the same destination if such a thing would be there. So that is the school, what is the safe, that is the functional theory says property should conform to the rules and reason, and it should be the welfare of the community that property should be used over there. According to Lasky, property is a social fact like any other, that it is the character of the social facts to alter. Property has the further assumed varied aspects, and is capable of the further change with the changing norms of the society. Suppose the changing norms of the society, as the society says, the property utilization should also be changed. Suppose if the shortage of the onions are there, then what they do? The government will keep the fair shop, and each one they will sell only 1 kilo onion, that to be a controlled price. So that is why they say the property should be distributed in the society rather than used in the society. That is the functional theory concept of the property is concerned. And property is the creation of the state. So a property, they say, according to the functional theory, it is the creation of the state. That is the origin of the property to trace back to the origin of the law and the state. So the origin of the law and the origin of the state and the property also is the creation of the state. Jenks observed that the property and the law were born together, would die together. So that is the concept of the Jenks. They say the property and law both are born together and would die together. Of course, when the person die, he leave the property, and up to that extent he is still alive. He try to accumulate the property. That's why the property and law. Of course, if the law is concerned, the law again will point you cannot enrich yourself at the cost of the others. You cannot try to exploit the exploit the labor of the somebody else. And when you exploit the labor, naturally you have to pay equivalent to the what of the labor he did it. So the property and law bond together and would tie together. It means that the property comes into existence when the state of formed law. So when the law is formed over there, the property will be formed. When the property will form there, where the law is there, so it is bond together and die together. That the property and law. Property was there now nowhere before law. So no property, no law. No law, no property. That is the concept regarding the functional theory is concerned. According to Rousseau, and it was to convert possession into the property and usurpation into a right, that the law state were founded. So he said it was to convert possession. A person possesses certain thing into property. When we will keep it, then we say the possession is a 99% ownership. And usurpation into a right. That usurpation means taking away. Usurp the property, take the property. Usurpation into the right, that the law and state were founded. So they are mingled together, the possession and usurpation in the both the way the property can be obtained. The first two include the piece of land and said, this is mine. A person who found that land, this is mine, and he was the founder of the real society. And he insisted on the fact that the property is nothing but a systematic expression, degree, and forms of the control and use and enjoyment of the things by person that are recognized and protected by law. Thus, the property was the creation of the state. According to the functional theory, the property is the creation of the state. That is, the functional theory aspect is concerned. Then the philosophical theory says the property is a means to ethical ends. I repeat, the property is a means to ethical ends. In the opinion of the Aristotle and Hegel and Green, and the property has never been treated as an end. See, there is no end to accumulate the property. I repeat, the property has never been treated as an end because a people who is having 1 crore, he tried to keep the 2 crores. A person who is having the 2 crores, he tried to keep the 3 crores. So that's the unending process. Meanwhile, he died. Are you following me? Say,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So these are the theories they say. Each one theory belongs to the person they say, and they will give in such a way. So the property as an end itself means recognize here the yes where we are. Yeah, property means to ethical end. Property has never been treated as an end, but always been a means to some other end. So we cannot. Now, are you living? Are you living to eat or eating to live? Anyone?
లివింగ్ టు బతకడం కోసం తింటాం.
In English, say.
దాని మీనింగ్ కరెక్ట్ తెలియక తెలుగులో చెప్పాను.
Okay. So in the beginning, when you are childhood, you live
to eat, sir.
You live to eat. But after sometimes when you become the old age, adulthood, when you say you eat to live, is it correct? Live to eat to live. Say చిన్నప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాం?
ఎస్ సార్.
ఇట్స్ అ డిఫరెంట్ ఆస్. ఇప్పుడు బతకడానికి తింటాను అంతే. తినడానికి బతకడం అప్పుడు వేరే వేరే స్టేజ్ లో, చిన్న స్టేజ్ లో. సో నౌ ద అరిస్టాటిల్ సే ఇట్ మే బి ఎండ్. హీ సెడ్ అకార్డింగ్ టు అరిస్టాటిల్ ఇట్ మే బి మీన్స్ టు an end of a good life of the citizen. It is means to an end, means after getting property, then you end yourself, then it is only the means to end of a good life of the citizen. Further, in the opinion of the Hegel and Green, it may be means to fulfill of the will without which individual are not a full man. Of course, if the property desire would not be there, a man's life would be meaningless. Of course, there will be certain limitation. దొరికింది అనుకోండి, ఓకే. దొరకలేదండి ఏమంటారండి? అందని ద్రాక్ష పండ్లు
పుల్లనా?
ఎందుకంటారండి?
ఎలాగో దొరకదు కాబట్టి తీయగా ఉండవని.
మనస్సుకు సీమితం చేసుకోవాలంటే ఏదో ఒకటి చెప్పుకోవాలి మనస్సుకు.
సార్ అవును సార్.
ఏం చెప్తారు? అరే పోనీరా ఈ పుల్లని ఎవడు తింటారా? సో దట్ వే వీ కెన్ సే దట్ సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ యూ సక్సీడెడ్ ఇట్, యూ సక్సీడెడ్ ఇట్ అండ్ ఏట్ ఇట్, అది పుల్లగా ఉన్నా కూడా ఏమైతే కష్టపడి తెంపినాయి కాబట్టి తీయగానే అనిపిస్తాయి. So the will without which the individual are not full man. So naturally, అరే మనవాడు అడిగినట్ట తాతను, తాత ఇంద్ర నాయన నువ్వు అమ్మమ్మను బాగా మిస్ చేస్తున్నావు కదా అంటే, అవునరా బాబు అన్నాడు. అరే మరి నేను పక్కన ఆంటీ ఉన్నది, ఆమె కూడా నీ అంత వయసే ఉంటది, నేను అడగాలి నాయన అన్నాడు. ఈ ముసలాయన నేను చెప్పాలి కదా, అరే నాకెందుకురా ఇప్పుడు పెండి, నేను ఆల్రెడీ 2 కాళ్ళు ఒక కాలో ఏది ఖబరస్థాన్ అంటే గ్రేవ్యార్డ్ లో పెట్టాను అనాలి నా తాత ఏమంటాడు చెప్పండి, మీరు చెప్పండి. చెప్పాలా లేకపోతే పాస్ అన్నానండి నేనన్నా చెప్తా.
తాటికి కాళ్ళు జాపుకొని కూర్చున్నా నాకెందుకు
అని చెప్పాలా. కానీ తాత ఏమంటాడు తెలుసా అండి? చెప్పాలా లేకపోతే పాస్ అన్నానండి?
సార్ చెప్పండి, సార్ చెప్పండి.
అరే నాకెవరిస్తారా పిల్లను అంటాడు. అంటే ఇంకా ఆశ ఉన్నదన్నట్టు. కాబట్టి మనిషి ఆశాజీవి, చచ్చిపోయినంత వరకు ఆశ పెట్టుకోవాలి. సో అకార్డింగ్ టు రూసో అండ్ జెఫర్సన్ అండ్ ఫ్రైడ్మ్యాన్, and it may be a means as a prerequisite of individual freedom seen in human existence. So naturally ఆశలు పెట్టుకోవాలి, కానీ ఆశకు అత్యాశ పెట్టుకోకూడదు. దట్ ఇస్ ఓన్లీ ద పాయింట్. You see the dreams but don't see the daydreams. You see the dreams and see that it should become true. In that way you can put your efforts. Yes. Similarly, the outstanding critics of the property, like the Winstanley Marx, and denounced it and destructive of human essence. Marx wanted to property is a destruction to the human essence, a negative means of relation to an ontological end. So the property said he is Marx. That is Marx. Karl Marx theory is a property will kill the man. Is a destruct the human essence. The negative means in relation to an ontological end. It is a end of your life if you feel that you will be after the property. Yes, in all the above cases, property is taken as a means, not to an end. It is only the means, but not to an end, you can say. So, property is an end itself. There is another concept, that is the utilitarian model. From Locke to Bentham, recognize the property is an end. It is a maximization of the utilities. According to Bentham, the command of the utility is measured by the material wealth. So they say Bentham, utility is measured by the material wealth. The maximization of the material wealth is the indistinguishable form of the ethical end. Property is virtually an end in itself. In the words of the Locke, the unlimited accumulation is a natural right of an individual, but is an end in not end in itself. So naturally, every person will be having that. Suppose if he is having 1 lakh, he wants to keep the 2 lakh. If he is having the 3 lakhs, he wants to keep the 4 lakhs. And by that, he end himself. By that, he end himself. Do you think that the property which you earned, do you eat all the property? Anyone?
Sir, do you eat all the property అన్నారా?
Yeah.
No, sir.
We eat only at the most 1/4. Yeah, I don't think that you eat even 1/4 also. Even 1/10 is more than enough. And you cannot eat what you earn is only 1/10 that you eat. But others, it is for your father, mother, brother, sister, wife, children, and neighbors, or who will be the weaker section of the society, including the friends. Yes, Aristotle and Aquinas have considered property as a means and concluded for a limited period property right. And Hegel and Green treats property as a means. Property as a means concluded that for an unlimited right. So one school say property is the end to itself. Another school say the property is unlimited because there is no limit. By earning the property will earning here is like that. But man life will be ended. So that would be the another concept of it. Property as an end in itself. So one way in another way, you earn the property till your death. By earning the property, you may die at any time. But after dying, you cannot eat the property. And the property will eat under somebody else who deserves it. The supporters of the utilitarian tradition treat accumulation of property is an end. Always means a right to unlimited accumulation. So people will say that unlimited accumulation, they will think it about, but they cannot eat the total property what they accumulated. So these are the certain theories, and sometimes it is very difficult to understand. Sometimes you can just write what it is written over there. So the 2 to 3 words lines is enough. But I did not see any question paper where the theories of the property is concerned. If it is asked over there, then you can write it. But if the 15 marks question is asked over there, then you have to write at least each theory regarding the 2 to 3 lines or 4 lines. Later, the concept of change in the utilitarian Benthamium held that the ultimate end to which all social arrangements should be directed was the maximization of the aggregate utility. That is the pleasure minus pain. See, whatever the property that you earn, is it for the pleasure or is it for the pain? Yes, anyone? Yes. సార్ మాకు అర్థం కాలేదు సార్. ప్రాపర్టీ అక్యుములేట్ చేస్తారు మరి దేని కొరకండి? ఇది ఎంజాయ్ చేయడానికి లేకుంటే మనసులు తట్టుకొని దొంగడు తీసుకుపోతాడో వాడు తీసుకుపోతాడో నిద్ర లేకుండా చేయకుండా పడుకోకుండా
ఎంజాయ్ చేయడానికి సార్, ఎంజాయ్ చేయడానికి.
You should see that when you get the property, at least use some property for your pleasure, and you minus the pain of members of the society. While listening out the kinds of the pleasure, including non-material one, he held that wealth. The possession of the material goods was so essential to the attainment of all other pleasures, and it could be taken as a measure of the pleasure or utility as such. But merely having the property, a man cannot also enjoy it. The reason is, He has the accumulated lot of property over there. But the doctor said, మీరు చిరుధాన్యాలు తిని బతకాలి, బిర్యానీ తినకూడదు, మాంసము తినకూడదు, చేపలు చూడకూడదు, గుడ్డు వాసన కూడా పట్టద్దు. మరి ఏం తినాలా? గడక. గడక అంటే తెలుసా అండి? చెప్పాలి.
తెలుసా? బియ్యం నూకతో చేసేది, చిరుధాన్యాలతోటి దగ్గరికి చేసేది నూకతోటి.
జనరల్లీ మిల్లెట్స్ తోని గాని, లెంటల్స్ తోని గాని, బాజరాతోని గాని చేసేదాన్ని గడక అంటారు.
అంటే చివరికి అన్నం కూడా తినొద్దని సార్ అర్థం.
గడక తినదంటే అన్నం తినదు, ఎందుకంటే కార్బోహైడ్రేట్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి. So the point, that is the kinds, the things or property is concerned. Then we will come across to the point, kinds of the property. Broadly, property is divided into three kinds of those are as follows: movable property, immobile property, and tangible or intangible property. Movable property ఏంటిదండి చెప్పండి? మీరు ఎంతవరకు అర్థం చేసుకున్నారు? మూవబుల్ ప్రాపర్టీ అంటే తొందరగా చెప్పాలి.
మూవబుల్ కార్లు, వెహికల్స్.
పర్ఫెక్ట్ సార్.
That property where you can carry from one place to another place, displacement is very easily be done. That is called the movable property. So section 3, subsection 3(6) of the General Clause Act. This is a general clause, the interpretation of statutes లో చెప్తాను. This is the last of all laws or interpretation clause కూడా అంటారు దీన్ని. దాన్ని General Clause Act of 1896, if I not be mistaken, defines a movable property as movable property shall mean property of every description except immobile property. అరే ఇంద్రబాబు ఇది డెఫినేషన్. అరే మొగ అంటే ఏంటంటే, మొగ అనేది ఆడదాన్ని కాబట్టి, ఆడదాన్ని విదౌట్ ద లేడీ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ మొగ.
ఆడది కానిది మగ.
ఆడది కానిది మొగ. ఇది ఎట్లున్నదంటే ఇది నెగటివ్ ఆన్సర్ ఉన్నది. A movable property shall means property of very description except the immobile property. అదే immobile property కానీ అంత movable property అవుతుంది అన్నట్టు అర్థం. Section 2, subsection 9 of the Registration Act 1908 defines the property as movable property includes standing timber, growing crops and grass, fruits upon juice in trees, and property of every other description except immobile property. అయితే టింబర్ ఉన్నది, ఏది మనం చెట్లను నరికేసిన తర్వాత ఉంటుంది చూడండి, దాని టింబర్. ఆ టింబర్ కానీ, గ్రోయింగ్ క్రాప్స్ కానీ, క్రాప్స్ ఆ తర్వాత మనం కోసేస్తాం, ఫటర్ చేస్తాం, ఎందుకంటే జంతువుల కొరకు. ఎస్, ఫటర్ అండ్ గ్రాస్, ఫ్రూట్ అపాన్ అండ్ జ్యూస్ ఇన్ ట్రీస్. సపోజ్ ద ఫ్రూట్స్, the bearing fruits are there. Yes, the fruits, after sometimes you will cut it and you will carry to the market. Yes, fruits and juice in the trees. ఏదైనా జ్యూస్ కూడా ఉన్నదనుకో, సరే ఈ జ్యూస్ ఇన్ ట్రీస్ ఏంటి చెప్పండి, చెప్పాలతో ఎవరైనా?
కలబందల నుంచి జ్యూస్ వస్తుంది, కలబంద లాంటి మొక్కల నుంచి జ్యూస్ వస్తుంది.
అంతేనా? కలబంద ఒకటే తెలుసా అండి మీకు?
అంటే పండ్ల మొక్కలు తెలుసా?
యాప చెట్టు నుండి కూడా వస్తుంది. యాప చెట్టు అంటే యాప ఉంటది, ఈత కళ్ళు ఉంటది, కళ్ళు ఉంటది, ఇవన్నీ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, these are juice in trees and property of every other description except the immobile property. So kallu also immobile property because it's juice in trees. Section 22 of the IPC defines the property as the words the mobile property is intended to include corporeal property and where you can touch it of every description except land and things attached to the earth. It is attached to the earth, things permanently fastened to the anything which is attached to the earth, అట్లాంటిది మాత్రం immobile property అవుతాయి, మిగతా అన్ని mobile property అవుతాయి. Things attached to the land may become mobile property by severance. Yes, once it is attached to the land, but when you sever it, it becomes a mobile property. Like the growing grass, when you cut it for the using for the animals, then automatically it becomes a mobile property. Hence, the growing grass also a movable property, a grass also a movable property, and a standing timber also a moving property. Once you cut the tree, then it becomes a timber or lumber, which is a movable property. And for example, cart loaded of earth. Here, cart load of earth ఏంటిదండి? కార్ట్ అంటే తెలుసు, ఎడ్ల బండి. లోడ్, ఓకే, లోడ్ ఉన్నది, ఏమున్నది? మన్ను ఉన్నదంట. ఏం మన్ను?
అది మోహోలే సార్,
ఆ?
అది మోహోలే.
సపోజ్ మీరు ఇవి ఉంటాయి, లేక్స్ ఉంటాయి అనుకోండి, ట్యాంక్స్ ఉంటాయి అనుకోండి, ఇవి కుంటలు ఉంటాయి అనుకో, కుంట ఆరిన తర్వాత అక్కడ ఆ సెడిమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయి చూడండి, మన్ను కొడతారు, దాన్ని మన్ను పొలాల్లో ఇస్తారు. ఎందుకు ఎత్తారు? సారవంతమని ఇస్తారు.
ఓ, అంత చెరువులు పుడికి తీసినప్పుడు నల్ల మట్టి అలాంటివి తీసి పొలాల్లో వేస్తారు.
దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఏ బ్లాక్ సెడిమెంట్ విచ్ ఇస్ ఏ which is high in minerals. They will use it in the fields. So cart loaded with the earth or is said to be the movable property, or stones, quarries ఉంటుంది, stones carry చేస్తుంటాము, అది ఒక movable property, and carried away from the land becomes a movable property. ఎందుకంటే బౌల్డర్స్ ఉంటాయి ఏది గుట్టకు, ఒక్కసారి బ్లాక్ చేసిన తర్వాత బౌల్డర్ పెద్ద పెద్ద పడతాయి, ఆటోమేటికల్లీ బికమ్ ద మూవబుల్ ప్రాపర్టీ. Then you crush it and different sizes will be made that will be carried by the lord, the cart. ఇప్పుడు కార్ట్లు కూడా చూద్దామని కూడా కనబడతలేదు, ఎందుకు అన్ని ట్రాక్టర్లు ఉన్నాయి. Is it or not?
అవును సార్.
Yes, now that the movable properties definitions are given, then now we'll see the immovable property. The immovable property occurs in various central acts. However, none of those acts in conclusion define the term. The most important of which deals with the immovable property is the Transfer of Property Act, TP Act. TP Act చెప్తుంది ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాపర్టీ గురించి, that it definite is exclusively terminology, that is. So according to section 3 is concerned, immovable property does not include, ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ నెగటివ్ మీనింగ్ తీసుకున్నాడు, does not include standing timber, growing crops or grass. Yes, the term defined in the act by excluding certain things like ఆడగాని వారు మొగ, మొగగాని వారు ఆడ. అరే కుడి చేతి ఏంటంటే ఎడవ చేతి గాంధీ కుడి చేతి, కుడి చేతి గాంధీ ఎడవ చేతి అన్నట్టు అయిపోయింది. Buildings and constitute a movable property, and machinery, if it is embodied in the building for the beneficial use of thereof, must be deemed to the put the building and the land on which the building is situated. The thing which is permanently attached to the earth is movable property. As per the section 326 of the General Clause Act 1897, that the immovable property shall include land. Yes, immovable property benefits to arise out of the land. Even the benefits arise out of the land also immovable property. Suppose fishing, ferry, immovable property. Things attached to the earth, immovable property. Permanently fastened to anything attached to the earth, immovable property. So the definition of the immovable property is also not exhaustive, but in section 2(6) of the Registration Act 1908 defines immovable property as, under immovable property includes land, building, hereditary allowances, even allowances also immovable property, hereditary allowances, right to ways, ఖాళీ నడిచే దారి, రైట్ టు వేస్, రైట్ టు లైట్ means ventilation, ferries, yes, fisheries, all immovable property, or any other benefit to arise out of the land, yes, is the immovable property. And things attached to the earth, immovable property. Permanently fastened to anything which is attached to the earth, immovable property. And but not standing timber కాదు, growing crops కాదు, nor grass కాదు, but other things are said to be the immovable property. So a wide definition is given in the immovable property under the Registration Act 1908. The definition of the term immovable property under the Registration Act 1998, which extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir comprehensively. So the definition, the following has been as a immovable property. Immovable property, a right to collect rent. Rent collect చేసే రైట్ immovable property కింద వస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే that is benefit arising out of the house, building, land. So life interest in the income of the immovable property, even life interest of the immovable property income also said to be that, even interest also that immovable property. Right to way, నడిచే దారి also is the immovable property. Ferry అంటే తెలుసా అండి? Going on the water from one place to another place through the instrument or through the apparatus called ferry. So even going also is a immovable property. Fishery అంటే చేపలు పట్టడం, yes, that is also immovable property. A lease of land, yes, that is also immovable property. So the term immovable property is defined under the act of the purpose of the act as per the section 269 capital U.A. and small d clause of the Income Tax Act 1961. Immovable property is defined as any land or any building or a part of a building and includes where any land or any building or a part of a building are to be transferred together with any machinery or a plant or furniture or fitting, other things, such machinery or plant or furniture, fitting, and all other things also said to be the immovable property. Any right or any with respect to any land or any building or a part of building, whether not including any machinery or plant or furniture or fitting or other things, which have been constructed, which is to be constructed, accruing or arising from any transaction, whether by way of becoming a member of or by acquiring the shares or cooperative society, other association of the person by the way of an agreement or any arrangement of whatever the nature, not being the transaction by way of the sale, exchange, or lease of land, building on a part of the building, that all said to be the immovable property. So the immovable property definition is very giving wide in the different acts. Now let us come to the tangible and intangible property, where you can say a tangible property where you can touch it and see it, but intangible property you cannot touch it and see it, but you can observe it, you can have the application of it. So tangible property refers to any type of the property that can be generally be moved, that is not attached to the real property or land, and touched or felt. These generally includes the terms of such as furniture, clothing, jewelry, art, riding, and household goods. Whereas the intangible property is that it is the property which cannot see it and we cannot touch it, but it can be made like the negotiable instrument is intangible property. Securities, services, intangible assets, including choose of action, is an intangible property. Like the intellectual property, all are intangible properties. So what are they? Under intellectual property law, owners are granted certain exclusively rights and to a variety of intangible assets such as musical and literary works, artistic work, discoveries or inventions or words and phrases, symbols, designs, patents, trademarks, copyrights, designs, and many other are said to be the intellectual property or patents. The example which I have given is there, the process of apparatus and uses in providing the invention is not obvious like that has been done before it, that is a patent right is there. We can say that it can be registered, like AG mark is there, and ISI mark is there, BSI mark is there, certificate will be given. So such a thing will are said to be the patents, and even trademarks also there. Of course, patent should be registered. It should be registered over there. Then only you can say patent. But symbols like logo, trademarks that is. Like Agmark is a trademark, not earlier I said patents. So you take it granted there's a mistake. So patents where you can register, trademarks, it is also a logo, a design, a model, a symbol, a sign. So such a things also will be recognized as a trademark and that can be also registered. The symbol of R is given, the capital R in the round, and the marks are enforced by the court proceedings also, and by the customs and the police and consumer protection, and the registered trademark should be comes under like TM is written there, capital T, capital M. These enforced in the court if a competitor uses the same or similar name or trade in the name are similar. Suppose the same of the Agmark and same of the thing, like Apple manufacturing company symbol is one apple is there, but then one bite is there, a small bite upper part. So that is the logo, that is the trademark of the company. If any person uses such things, if a similar nature, then it will be a violation of the trademark. Then copyright, suppose if you write a book, any article, any literary work, the copyright would be there. Till your death after 60 or 90 days, one should not supposed to take it back. If you want to take it back, you have to take the permission of the copyright. So copyright is there. Design registration. Suppose if a design would be there, like the motor vehicle design, machine design, and engine design, or any other design is there, that restriction would be there. The product distinct from the other novel shape or pattern, and this is also registration is not possible where the new form is dictated by a function. So designing is registrable either nationally and internationally also, depending upon the where you are registering it, and it is protected one like the copyright. So these are the certain things where that the property division would be the basically three types, that is movable and immovable. Then the last one is tangible and intangible that we have seen in in a natural manner. So in the conclusion, what I want to say is that the existence of the concept of property is from the ancient period. This concept has a very broad history. There are many philosophies laid down by many thinkers like the Bentham, Lansky. The philosophers are very useful in understanding the concept of property. The main finding of that the term property is defined in different ways in each and in different acts to its and in the sale of goods of 1930 defined differently, and Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 1988 differently, and the Registration Act differently, and the General Clause Act differently. In today's era, not only the things which can be seen or touched, but also things which cannot be touched or seen come in the preview of the property, such as the idea, innovation, compositions, and these are the properties known are said to be the intellectual properties. So this is the roundabout the today's class regarding the first unit, first that concept, meaning, concept, definition of the property. We have studied it. Then the next aspect which I have given the syllabus is concerned. That point we will see it tomorrow. But the tomorrow class, as usual, start by 9:30 and by 10:15, and that is what I want to say to you. So with this, I would like to wind up my class. Then before I wind up, I would like to say thank you very much for your patient listening. And here I have given the thanks a lot for listening carefully my online class patiently by participating in my online class. That is MSH Muhammad Sahib Hussain. That is written over there. Yes, anything to be asked, we can ask now. If nothing to be asked, then say goodbye. Yes. Anything to be asked, we can ask now, or you can say goodbye, so that I could close my session. Unmute and say,
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now I can stop it sharing. And tomorrow classes as usual 9:30. And see you tomorrow. Bye. End of the meeting for all.